Hello everyone. Now let's start this particular new playlist. After the introduction video, this is the first video. So in which I'm going to solve one problem that you are seeing on the screen. So as I said, I will not cover any theory, but then as the terminology keeps coming, I'll try to briefly introduce or tell what is the meaning of the term and why it is. And but then the objective is to learn from example problems by solving these problems. Okay. Now this is the problem number P2-1A from the textbook which I was showing before. So if you had seen my previous introduction video, so in which I talked about this particular textbook, Financial Accounting, by these three authors from Wheelie Publications. So from this, I have taken this problem. In fact, it's quite worth it. Definitely, you should, if you want to learn something, you should definitely worth buying this book, and then you can see from that, learn from that. A lot of example problems are given. So this is the one which I would like to begin with, in this particular playlist. And after this, we will be solving a very series of problems. And again, I mentioned our objective is to learn the accounting cycle. Okay, so before we start learning about accounting cycle, let's in this video I want to show you what a balance sheet is. Okay, what is the meaning of a balance sheet? Okay, let's look at the question. Suppose the following items are taken from 2014 balance sheet of Yahoo Inc. All dollars are in millions. That means this is $3,927 million. That means $3.9 billion, something like that. Okay, so that is something called goodwill they are saying, and then common stock, equipment, and all these things. Okay, so how do we? Uh, okay, so these details are given. Let's see what is the instructions. Prepare a classified balance sheet. Okay, so this is what is needed. Classified balance sheet for Yahoo Inc. as of December. Okay, so let's start doing that. So I'll do it everything, on a very basic level. I'm not using any computer or software or anything. If you've seen my videos, I'm very much supportive or interested in coding. But then for this accounting cycle, I don't think any coding is needed because right now our focus is on learning the concepts. Okay, so let us start with this. What is the question here is classified balance sheet of Yahoo Inc. Okay, so let's take out this bill. Yeah, so let's start by the company name. Okay, so or the problem number P 2-1A. So Yahoo Inc. And then classified balance sheet, and then as of December 31, 2014. Okay, so this is our starting point. Now, what is a classified balance sheet? So little bit theory we should know. Okay. So just to explain the theory, I'll just go one page back. Okay. So classified balance sheet means classification means grouping, right? So a balance sheet will consist of the structure like this. So, or let me explain it here. It will have, I can divide it in the middle. This is the assets and this is the liabilities plus equity. So, so the idea is that assets A equal to L plus E. This is called the basic accounting equation. Assets equal to liabilities plus equity, or sometimes it is called stakeholders equity or owners equity or something like that. Now, what is the meaning of asset? Asset is something that the business owns. The business uses these assets to do their work. So, for example, if you see in this, equipment is there. Equipment is an asset because by using the equipment, this Yahoo company will do their business. So, like that. So, similarly, what is this liabilities? Liability is something that you owe to someone. You are supposed to be returning that, or you are supposed to give. So, for example, you see accounts payable. So you are supposed to pay this thing. Okay, so this is an example of a liability. If you take a loan from a bank, then that loan is called a liability. And finally, equity. Equity is the initial investment of the person starting a business, and also equity also includes the retained earnings. Okay, so in when the company starts, the retained earnings will be zero, but as the time passes, the retained earnings will increase. Now the classification, or we say classified balance sheet. Okay, so it is like this. So first is current assets, then long-term assets. Okay, it's not strictly called long-term assets. It's called plant, property, and equipment. So this is the another. So this is one group, current assets, and this is another group, and another group is intangible assets. So like goodwill, patents, those kind of things are called intangible assets. So these three categories. Under the liabilities and equities, under liabilities we have current liabilities. Current are also called as short-term liabilities, or current asset is also called short-term assets. I'll show you the examples of this. Then long-term liabilities, and third one is equity. Okay, so that is shareholder equity. Now this equity will include capital and retained earnings. And when you do the totals, so whatever total is equal to total. So that's why it is called balance sheet. Okay. So this is the classification of the different things. So now let us say CA, current asset, PPE, plant, property and equipment. Intangible means I, okay, or IA, intangible assets. Now CL is current liability. Just I'm giving long-term liability, LL I will call it, and equity I'm calling it as SE. Okay. So just I'm giving these shortcuts so you can identify. Now the trick of solving this problem is to identify which is which. So goodwill. Goodwill is a intangible asset. Common stock. Okay. So common stock is nothing but your equity. Okay. So shareholders equity. Equipment is comes under PPE, proper that is what is that? Plant, property and equipment. It comes under that. It's a one type of asset. Okay. By the way, let's see whether it is asset or liability. Goodwill is an asset. Common stock is a liability, or actually equity. Equipment is an asset. Accounts payable is a liability. Patents is an asset. Okay. Stock investment, long term. Okay, so you are investing in something, so asset. Accounts receivable is an asset. Prepaid rent is an asset. Debt investment is also an asset. Retained earnings is on the equity side, so equity. Cash is an asset. Notes payable is a liability. Unearned sales revenue is also a liability, and accumulated depreciation, it will be subtracted from the asset. So see, ALE. If you add all A's and if you add all L and E, the balance will be equal. Okay, so we'll check that later. So now come to this side. Accounts payable is a current liability because it's a short-term liability. Patent is a intangible asset. Stock investment is a stock investment is again a long-term asset. Okay, so because it's a long-term asset, it will come under PPE. Okay. Plant, property and equipment, something like that. Accounts receivable is a current asset, CA. And then prepaid rent is also a current asset, CA. Debt investment, short term, okay, as the name suggests, is also a current asset, CA. Retained earnings, as you know, it is on the equity side, so E. Cash is also current asset. Notes payable, it's a liability, but it's a short-term liability, current liability. I'm sorry, here they mentioned long-term, so it is a long-term. See, normally the notes payable will be both short-term or long-term. Since here they mentioned long-term, it has to be LL. Then unearned sales revenue. So this is a revenue that you are yet to earn. So that is again a current liability, CL. Accumulated depreciation is also comes under PPE. Now I have classified all the this thing. This will make preparation of balance sheet very easy. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make the balance sheet. Okay. So here is what we started. So now I'll start with assets. Under assets, first I'll start with current assets. So what are the current assets? So wherever CA is there, I will pick that up. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I can see 4 CAs here. Okay. So let's write that. And usually it is a practice to start with the cash. Okay. So I will say, let me put it this way. Okay. I'll try to show both at a time. So we have cash. So cash is a current asset, this one. So it is 2292. Okay, so let me write 2292. Then we have, so this is done. Let's do accounts receivable. I'll come from the start. So 1061. So this is done. Then we have prepaid rent. $233. Then we have debt investment. Some kind of investment, and it is short term. It's already mentioned. Okay. So debt investment short term 1160. Okay. So these are the 4 CS which I completed now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now I can take the total of this and say total current assets. So let me pick up the calculator and do it right away in front of you. So 2292 plus 1061 plus 233 plus 1160. Okay. So I'm getting 4746. Okay. By the way, this is in thousands of dollars. Okay. So in $1,000. Okay. So current assets is done. Next, if I go to the structure, current asset is over. Next, plant, property and equipment. Okay, so let's see whether we have anything under plant, property and equipment. In fact, we also have what is called as a long-term asset. Let me see this particular thing. There is a stock investment long-term. So instead of calling it PPE, I'll just call it as a long-term asset, and that is 3247. Okay, so let me write that. So stock investment. This is in long-term and 3247. Okay, so that is this. Next we have plant, property and equipment. So just I'm writing in shortcut form, just so that at least the main point is you understand what it is. That's it. Okay, so here I have only two. One is equipment and other is accumulated depreciation. So when you purchase an equipment, okay, the initial equipment is 1737. Okay, so I'll write equipment. 1737. Now accumulated depreciation. So we have to subtract that. So less ACCDEP, accumulated depreciation. Okay. So that is 201. Okay. So 201. So you have to subtract this. How much it comes to? 1737 minus 201. So 1536, 1536. So as every year you keep on accumulating the depreciation, and the equipment value will keep on decreasing. So from 1700 it decreased to 1500. Next year it will become 13. Next year it will become 1000. So like that, as the years pass by, the equipment value keeps on falling because of the wear and tear of the equipment. Okay, so that is about this one. So anything else is there under A? Yes, we have intangible assets like goodwill and all. Okay, so I have two intangible assets are there, two IAs. Okay, so let's write down that. Intangible assets. So I have goodwill. Goodwill is, something like the brand name of the company, and its reputation and its perception, okay, among the people. And then patents is, as you know, it's inventions and technologies. Okay, the value of goodwill is given as 3927, and the value of patents is given as 234. Okay, so the total of this will come somewhere here. 3927 plus 234. So that is 4161. So you can see here. So 4161. Now this total, so I have to basically add 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just I'm sorry, I'm not writing it very neatly, but then you understand the concept. So I have to add these 4 numbers to get the total assets. Okay. So what is the total assets? So 4746 plus 3247 plus 1536 plus 4161. So 13,690 dollars. So this is my total assets. Now, as you know, the balance sheet has two sides. Okay, so one side is the assets side. Now this is over. Now coming to the right side, that is liabilities and equity, current liabilities, long-term liabilities, and all that. Okay, so we still have a lot of data points left out. So let's fill them now. So I will now say here, approximately in the same height, liabilities. So current liabilities. So CL. Okay, so the code was CL. So I will find all the CL and then do that. So I find one CL here, that is accounts payable. Okay, and another CL. Where is CL? Okay, so here there is another CL, unearned sales revenue. Okay, so I have only two items in this. Okay, so let me write down that. Accounts payable 152, and then unearned sales revenue. So unearned sales revenue is a current liability. It relates to something like selling coupons and things, offers, that kind of thing. So 413. So what is the total here? So I think 5 and then 6, 5. Okay, so this is 565. Next, I have long-term liabilities. So what are the long-term liabilities? So again, LL. Okay, so here only one item is there with LL, that is 734. that is notes payable long term. And and the amount is $734,000. Okay, so this is in thousands of dollars. Anyway, so that is long term liabilities. Then we have the equity. Okay, so shareholders equity, or simply you can say equity. So the first type of equity, SE, you can see here, common stock, common stock. Okay, so that is okay, this one is already done, 6283. Okay, so common stock 6283. Okay, then I have retained earnings. Okay, 6108. Okay, so retained earnings 6108, and that's it. So these two together we'll have to add 6283 6108. So I am getting 12,391. Okay, so of course this I should be writing here to the extreme right so that I can add these columns, and that's it. So these are the types. So now I have to find the total liabilities and equity. So let's add this one plus 734 plus 565, so 13,690. So again, if you see, on the asset side we have this number, and on the liability side we have this number. So these two are exactly matching. So hopefully we have not made any mistakes in our thing. So just that's a good thing to know. If you have done any mistake, then you will be not getting the same answer both sides. Okay. So this is the answer to the first question, that is Yahoo Inc. Classified balance sheet. So I hope you find this video interesting. See, use the sheet like this, mark on it, strike off the numbers that you are using. So if you do this, you will be able to easily identify, what is going on. Otherwise, it will be very confusing if you don't write on this and, try to solve. Anyway, so with this, I will stop this example. In the next video, we will see a similar type of problem, but a little bit more detailed, one more problem. Thank you. See you in the next video.